What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cap show. Yes, I'm really disappointed in the Los Angeles Lakers this season. Obviously, I was way off. I was wrong. I really thought LeBron James was really going to win it again. I thought they were going to repeat, and ultimately three-peat. But, I was dead wrong on it. And really, I think the injuries caught up to both Anthony Davis and LeBron James. My whole thing is dealing with Anthony Davis is, what's he doing wrong in the offseason during the training? Because you have to understand, Anthony Davis is so young still. There's no reason for him to be getting hurt this early in his career. When you get hurt, it's typically later in your 30s. AD's still in his early 20s, so to me it doesn't make sense. I don't know if it's his training, maybe his diet. I don't know, not weightlifting a lot during the offseason. I don't know what it is. If I'm Anthony Davis's trainer, I'm definitely getting him into the weight room. 100%, he's got to hit the weights. He's too skinny out there. If he gets a little bit more muscle, I think that really will get him over the top. But to me, where do the Lakers go from here? And a lot of people are hating on LeBron. Obviously, I'm a huge LeBron fan. I told you guys to bet on the Lakers to repeat ultimately. But this was the first time in LeBron James' 18-year career where he lost the first round of a playoff series. He's never lost in the first round of the playoff series. He missed the playoffs twice his first 2 years in the league. That's it. But, first time ever losing first round. To me, it's really devastating. Obviously, I'm really disappointed. I can't believe it, ultimately. But, everybody who hates on LeBron, yes, cherish this moment. They're going to say what they want to say about LeBron. But let's not forget, LeBron, yes, he does have the most triple-doubles in NBA Finals history with 11. Okay, the list goes on. He's got 4 championships right now. He's 4-6 in the NBA Finals. I get that. He's under 500. That's the only knack, really. But, let's look at his roster. Besides Anthony Davis, and I'll even give Andre Drummond a nod. But, what else? Kyle Kuzma? How's he in the NBA? Kyle Kuzma looks like a guy that you'd play at a YMCA. Just a local pickup game, 4-on-4, 5-on-5 pickup game. Kyle Kuzma is a disgrace to the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't even know how he got on the team. To me, I wouldn't be surprised if he's even in the NBA in the next couple years. I don't even know how he made it to the NBA after watching him perform this past season. Pathetic, dude. How's he even get clocked, dude? Kyle Kuzma, one of the worst NBA players I've ever seen, ever. Tweaking layups, missing wide open threes, countless time after time again. And to me, it's like LeBron James got no help. I will give, Caldwell Pope, he's nice, but really had a great season last year and in the finals, but this season really didn't show up that much. Alex Caruso, he's a role player, okay? He's a role player, kind of like, Matthew Dellavedova type. Back when LeBron James had Dellavedova, we knew what happened. Eventually, LeBron won the 2016 NBA championship, overcame that. But, Marc Gasol, towards the end of his career, he's trash now. They have so many role players that we really don't hear of. The Lakers. So if I'm the Lakers organization, I'm rebuilding, and I'm going after Damian Lillard. 100%, you got to get Damian Lillard here if you're the Lakers. Because if you get Damian Lillard, he's a scorer. He can score really at any time, anywhere on the court. And really Damian Lillard's game has improved his three-point shooting. That's really what's improved dramatically to me watching Damian Lillard since he came into the NBA. From a small school, came up. So to me, if the Lakers are smart, they got to get Damian Lillard. And to me, they got to watch Anthony Davis and really train him differently. I don't know what he's doing wrong. Something's not going right. There's no reason for Anthony Davis to be hurt this time. And Anthony Davis always hits the floor a lot. So, to me, I'm going to tell him, look, dude, you can't be hitting the floor all the time. Every time you hit the floor, especially when you're a big guy like Anthony Davis, those are going to catch up to you. Those injuries are going to catch up to you. To me, it's really bad. But for LeBron's sake, dude, he's been in the league 18 years, 4 NBA championships. Obviously, this is not a good look for his legacy. Is it an ending legacy? No, because I still feel like LeBron James still has about a good 4 years left in the NBA. I really believe that. 4 years of high potential of being the greatest player in the NBA. From passer to scorer. And one knack I did have on LeBron against the Suns was, he really wasn't aggressive. What I mean by that is scoring. he was always trying to facilitate to his other teammates. It's like, LeBron, you had to take over. In Game 5 and Game 6, he had opportunities to really take over the game. And we didn't see that hunger side of LeBron that we're used to seeing. We didn't see the 2016 LeBron James in the finals, right? In Game 5 and Game 6, 41 points. Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals against Golden State, a triple-double. To me, we didn't see that hunger in LeBron James against the Suns here. I saw the hunger in CP3, and I think that's ultimately how the Suns won, was because of CP3 and obviously Book. Shout out to Devin Booker, killer. But to me, CP3 was really the X factor of that. CP3, one of the best point guards we've seen in the past 20 years. He's definitely in my top 3, number 1 at IQ. And even handle-wise as well. CP3, he's a floor general. He knows who's where. That's what I love about CP3. His IQ of the game is an A+, 100 out of 100 IQ. I wouldn't be surprised if we see CP3 coach one day, similar to Steve Nash. Similar games. Great ball handling, great IQs of the game. Steve Nash coaching the Brooklyn Nets, and they might win it this year. Obviously, their favorite. They got a superpower team. 3 superstars. That's where the NBA is going to now. It's like we're going to team up on superstars, and a lot of people will say, well, Cap, what about LeBron James? He did that. Okay, I'll give you that. Yes, LeBron James did leave the Cleveland Cavaliers, in 2010 to go to the Miami Heat, but understanding LeBron's situation, who did he have in Cleveland? Ilgauskas? Delonte West? Look at it. Let's fast forward a decade later. Where's Delonte West now? Where's LeBron James? You know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. But, throughout LeBron James's career, before he went to the Miami Heat, and even after the Miami Heat, really didn't have many superstars. The 2016 team, when they won with Tyronn Lue, who was the head coach, to me, it was like, Kevin Love, was he really a superstar? Yes, in Minnesota, he was a superstar, but when he came to Cleveland, really, he was just a rebounder and an assist guy. Kind of like a role player. I wouldn't even call Kevin Love now a superstar. I really wouldn't. I'd call him a good role player. That's what I would call Kevin Love today, a good role player. Towards Minnesota, the first years in the league, for sure. He was ultimately a superstar, no doubt, averaging 30 a game, for sure, 100%. But, looking at it, he had Kyrie. LeBron James had Kyrie. Yes, he had R.J. Smith. Shout out to R.J. Henny Smith. We saw what he did in the 2017 NBA Finals with that. I believe it might have been 2018, where he dribbled the ball out. They're tied up. And it's like, JR, you could have shot it for the game. And look, LeBron James dropped 51 on that team, on Golden State. It was actually, 2018. It was. So, to me, it's like, and so many people will say all the negatives about LeBron. The whole society, I feel like our society today is always like, they want to capitalize on people's failure. They want people to fail. And ultimately, they want LeBron James to fail. They do. They love when LeBron James fails. So, to me, it was just like, man, like, I hate to see it. Obviously, losing first time in the first round of the playoffs, ever in his career. But, LeBron James is ultimately a first ballot Hall of Famer. He will go down as the top 3 greatest players to ever play the game. 100%. Now, will he be in front of Jordan? Probably not. I would still take MJ. 6-0 in NBA Finals is really hard to top. Compared to, LeBron with 4-6 in the NBA Finals, been to 10. Easily, could have really stepped it up. But I think ultimately this year in 2021 for the Lakers, it really boiled down to injuries. That's really what it came down to. And with Anthony Davis being hurt and LeBron James missing a couple months in the season, it really hurt them. And LeBron James hasn't really missed that long time ever in his career. Maybe a month with the Miami Heat. Back before they repeated, I believe. The season they repeat. But to me, it's just like, I didn't see that hunger. That's my only knock on LeBron this year against the Suns in the playoffs was we didn't see that hunger. We didn't see him being hungry for that. For another championship, for a repeat. And it's so hard to repeat in any type of sport, either NBA, NFL, NHL, doesn't matter. If you repeat in something, it's super hard. That's why it's really rare. But to me, I really thought the Lakers were going to get over the hump. Really, though, I thought they were going to overcome adversity and go through it. And I thought LeBron James was going to come on top like he does most of the time. But a lot of people are like, well, at least LeBron James didn't make it to the NBA Finals and lose again in the NBA Finals. I get that. For LeBron James this offseason, I think this is his biggest offseason yet. Obviously he's got more time to rest his body, more time to rest, everything. Everybody's saying, oh, he's kind of fallen off. Some people are even saying retirement. It's like, stop it, dude. LeBron James is still LeBron. He can score whenever he wants. He can get to the cup whenever he wants. He can help his team out whenever he wants. But to me, my whole thing is dealing with LeBron. My only weakness with LeBron is him just being a little passive, dude. I feel like if he was just more aggressive and more hunger and have a little bit more aggression here, you know, it definitely against the Phoenix Suns. I mean, seriously, you know, I really thought LeBron was going to overcome that. You know, beating Golden State for the playoff game in, to me, it made sense why I picked the Lakers, right? You know, but so many people were like, no way, but which I didn't see what they saw. You know, most of the people were like, no way, the Lakers are winning this year. I mean, let's rewind the clocks back to 2016. They said that as well. They said, you know, LeBron was not going to beat Golden State Warriors down 3-1. And ultimately, they came back and they won. They won that. So that's what gave me a little hope. But looking at Lakers this season, look, you know, you got to rebuild. You know, I would say get rid of, obviously, Kyle Kuzma, one of the worst NBA players I've ever seen in history. I mean, how did he even make the league? That's my whole thing. He's gone. 100%. Caruso, I don't know. That's an iffy. You can let him go. Either let him stay. I think he's a good role player. He's young. He can create. I'd say keep Caruso. Keep Pope. You know, keep those guys, you know, the guards. But I think, obviously, unless you get Damian Lillard, if you get Damian Lillard, obviously you can get rid of Caruso or Pope. But to me, have a backup for Damian. So Caruso wouldn't be a bad backup for Damian Lillard. I just think if Damian really does go to the Lakers with LeBron and AD, those three alone right there, I mean, we're talking NBA Finals, okay? But I think they got to build a bench. Are they going to keep Andre Drummond? I think it'd still be smart to keep him. You know, obviously Andre came in at the end of the season, so, you know, he really didn't have the chemistry to play with LeBron like that and play with the Los Angeles Lakers system, so it was really hard, right? You know, I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but it was just like difficult in a way. But, you know, the Lakers, they need to get Damian Lillard. And a lot of people are saying, what about Steph Curry? I think Steph Curry's going to stay at Golden State his whole career, kind of like what Tim Duncan with the Spurs, like Kobe did with the Lakers. Why? Well, why would Steph move? You know, obviously, if he does go to Lakers with LeBron, it would make a little sense, right, to play with LeBron James. But I think, you know, Steph's not that type of person. You know, even at Davidson, he was always a team player and the greatest shooter we've ever seen. So I would be surprised if Steph does leave Golden State, but I wouldn't be surprised if he stays. I really think Steph, at the bottom of his heart, gonna stay in Golden State. I think he likes it there. The people love Steph Curry. Who doesn't like Steph Curry? So to me, I think Steph Curry's gonna stay ultimately in Golden State. So the Lakers, they need to pursue Damian Lillard. That's who they need to get. And if I'm Damian Lillard right now, I'm contacting LeBron James and saying, look, you know, let's team up. You know, we got Anthony Davis, still young, still has a lot to grow from, still has a lot to learn. And I think a lot of it's, you know, who's he around, who's he surrounding, who's training Anthony Davis. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason for Anthony Davis to be hitting the ground as much as he does, being that fragile. To me, I think he needs to hit the weight room. I think Anthony Davis this offseason needs to focus on his shot and in the weight room all the time. He needs to get big. I mean, more muscle, you know, on his legs and in his upper body, dude. He's just skinny, you know, skinny, tall guy, which he has a lot of skill. But to me, he needs to build more muscle. That's my thing. But, you know, ultimately, the Lakers, they need to regrow. They need to get another score. They need to get a couple more scores for LeBron. You know, LeBron, obviously, towards the end of his career. And we started to see that this year. And I'll even say, yes, LeBron James has definitely slowed down since, you know, '08 LeBron James, '09 LeBron James, where we saw LeBron James really just dunking over everybody, which he can still do that. But to me, he obviously isn't as quick as he used to be. He doesn't have that quick step anymore. You know, LeBron James getting towards his late 30s. You know, so to me, like I said, I still think that LeBron James will ultimately be in the NBA for another 4 years. You know, it's going to be interesting to see this year what's going to happen coming up in the 2022 season. It's going to be interesting. It really is for the Lakers and LeBron and Anthony Davis. But my thing, if I'm the Lakers organization, you got to get Damian Lillard. That's the X factor. If you get Damian Lillard, you will win an NBA championship with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Damian Lillard. You will, ultimately. And to me, Damian Lillard's been the most underrated player for the past, 5 or 6 years. I mean, in a couple years, he missed the All-Star game. And I'm thinking, how is Damian Lillard missing the All-Star game? You know, he's just doing crazy stuff. You know, putting Westbrook and Paul George out of the playoffs. You know, hitting that deep three. countless times. The Rockets and James Harden hitting that three in Game 6 to go to the next series. Damian Lillard, he's got that clutch gene. And I think with LeBron with LeBron and the Lakers adding Damian Lillard's going to be that plus. I mean, that's what LeBron James, why he went to the Miami Heat, is to become champion with Dwayne Wade. So Dwayne Wade taught him. So to me, it's kind of like Dwayne Wade's going to that sort of speak of teaching Damian Lillard, like LeBron James is going to teach Damian Lillard. Now you're going to win championships. Now you're going to stay in Los Angeles for the rest of your career. It's going to be interesting. Maybe Dame wants to stay with Portland. I wouldn't blame him, but if I'm Damian Lillard, why would you not want to play with LeBron? You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, why not? So to me, that's the biggest offseason. Who do I have winning the finals? Obviously, the Brooklyn Nets are favorite. The X Factor team would definitely be the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, they play well. Luka's nice. Look, when I first saw Luka, I thought he was a little bit overhyped, but he is the real deal. Kind of reminds me of Baron Davis a little bit. You guys remember Baron Davis he could ball out, so to speak. So to me, I like the Mavericks as an X Factor team, but obviously I'm going with the Nets. I hate to say it, with James Harden, Durant, and Kyrie, but it's like, who's going to stop them? Superpower team coached by the great legend Steve Nash, one of the best point guards we've ever seen in NBA history. So that would make sense that the Brooklyn Nets win this year. Am I going to watch? Probably not. I'm really disappointed, though. I'm really sad about LeBron James and the Lakers, the way they handled things. I just think, my whole thing is dealing with LeBron this year was I just didn't see the hunger, even in last year in 2020 finals. I didn't see that hunger. So I just think LeBron was really just a beat, man. He was strained, and I think all the minutes started to add up to him. His whole 18-year career really came down on him this postseason. Was like, what do you got here, LeBron? And I'm not making excuses for LeBron. They take defeat. But will LeBron James win another NBA title? That's the question. Obviously, yes. I ultimately do believe that. 100%, especially if they get Damian Lillard this offseason. But, I still think LeBron James will win another championship. Will he win 2? It's going to be hard. But to win 5 championships and tie Kobe Bryant, tie Tim Duncan, I do believe that. I think LeBron James can do that. 100%, dude. LeBron James is probably the most gifted athlete I've ever seen, dude. Ever. We have never seen an athlete like this caliber to be able to jump and do all these crazy things that LeBron James does. So to me, the Lakers have a huge offseason. It's gonna be interesting to see. And I can't wait. I just hope for LeBron James and the Lakers' sake, they get another superstar. What's going to happen when LeBron James ends his contract? I believe it ends at the end of 2022. To me, it's going to be interesting. I could see LeBron James maybe signing another 2-year deal with the Lakers and retiring after that and be in the league over 2 decades in the NBA. What a career. Over 2 decades in the NBA if you're LeBron, dude. I mean, not many even people play a decade in the NBA. LeBron James will easily pass 2 decades. So to me, it's crazy. But, I wouldn't be surprised if we see LeBron James maybe go back to Cleveland for his last couple years. Maybe even try to own the Cleveland Cavaliers. We already know he owns a part of Boston, soccer teams. LeBron, what he does off the court, spectacular. That's what gets me is why so many people hate on LeBron. Especially on social media. All these platforms, they talk crap about, they call him Lee Bum James. And that's just funny to me because it's like what he's done for society, what he's doing for the youth right now. So how can you call him Lee Bum when he's helping children, the youth out to have better education, better lives? That's not what bums do. So, all that talk on social media about LeBron James really is irrelevant, and I don't think LeBron James really pays any attention to it, where I did think LeBron James in his earlier career paid a little attention to it, got to his head, but ultimately, I think it's just blowing smoke now. It really is. But to me, the Lakers this offseason, they got to get a couple of superstars. Maybe add Damian Lillard, maybe even add a couple more pieces. People are going to want to play for LeBron James. Maybe even add a young shooter in there. You never know. But obviously, if Steph Curry goes to the Lakers, I mean, that would be unfair. It's over. It's a wrap. you can count it that LeBron James will pass Michael Jordan for more championships. He will probably tie Robert Horry with 7 NBA championships. Shout out to Big Shot Rob. I mean, unreal. What a career for Big Shot Rob. Insane. But to me, it's going to be interesting. You know, like I said, I got the Brooklyn Nets winning it all this year. It sucks, but my X Factor team is definitely the Dallas Mavericks. But this offseason, Lakers make some moves for LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and we will see LeBron James win in 2022, baby. It's the Clown with Cap show. Let's go!